I'm gonna try, and I mean try, to make a zombie Spider-Man costume with very little materials, with very little time, for no reason at all, other than the fact that it's really, really cool. Let's do it. Hey, what up? I'm Miles and welcome back. And yes, as you heard in the intro, I'm gonna be attempting in this video with very minimal supplies to try and make a zombified version of a Spider-Man costume. Now, I will come out and preface right away, this is in no way going to be a professional suit by any means, not by my own standard or anyone else's. This is just going to be a fun DIY project that if I can figure out how to do, I'm going to show you guys how to do it for less than $100 that you can make a pretty cool zombie Spider-Man for this Halloween. That being said, this is a really cool idea that I want to try to revisit in the future, maybe next Halloween, and actually do it like properly. But we're going to see how far we can go and how much we can succeed with what we have here. I was inspired to make this when I saw a bunch of teasers for the new Marvel Zombies thing coming out on Disney Plus, and it looked really, really cool. And I think I saw another cosplayer wear like a Spider-Man suit with zombie makeup, and I thought it was a really cool idea, and I wanted to push it in my own direction and kind of do my own thing with it and attempt to make a zombified Spider-Man suit. Now, how exactly am I going to do this? I have no idea, but I'm going to figure it out. That could very well be the motto of my entire channel, and I'm happy about it. Anyway, the hope for this video is to make a zombie Spider-Man out of some DIY stuff, show you guys how to do it yourself, and just kind of have fun with it. If this video turns out to be an absolute abominable fail, I'm probably still going to edit and post it because I like showing you guys my failures, because I think they're entertaining. But anyway, enough yapping. Let's do it. Alright, so before the build process, let's go over the materials that I actually picked up to kind of get me started on this. Now, I went very cheap. I tried to find the cheapest stuff that I could while also finding relatively decent stuff. So nothing on this list is relatively expensive, but altogether it is a little bit of chunk of change, but not that bad, especially for a DIY costume. Hopefully that's going to look pretty cool. Now, obviously, first step was to get a new Spider-Man suit, but I was not in any universe going to use one of my actual good Spider-Man suits or buy a new one for this reason, because I'm literally going to be destroying the Spider-Man suit. I'm going to be tearing it up, ripping it to shreds, putting blood on it, mishing it with a zombie thing, all of that. So I went on Amazon, found a cheap Spider-Man suit. Hopefully that'll fit me with double XL. I have not even tried this on yet, so that'll be real embarrassing if this video stops at step 1, if this doesn't even fit me. But that's going to be our base, is using this Spider-Man suit and zombifying this. This is obviously modeled off of the Tobey Maguire Sam Raimi Spider-Man suit, so that's a plus. It does come with lenses and a mask, but we're going to be destroying basically all of it. The second category is kind of this zombie materials. Now, the three things we have for this are these latex zombie-ish hands, these gloves, that actually work pretty cool. You know, I can get my hand in there, get some nice cool texture, get some nice grippiness on it. And I think if I slide this section underneath the suit, it might work. The only concern is, you know, how much extra space there is, like that. Might have to figure something out with that. Might like Velcro that. But who knows? Maybe I'll just slide it under the arm of the suit and we'll call it a day on that. A fun idea I had for this would be maybe trying to mimic the Spider-Man webbing on this with like airbrush paint. But, you know, that's a later step. I'm getting ahead of myself here. The next piece is going to be the piece de resistance, is this latex zombie mask I picked up. Super structural, as we can see, but it does provide a good base that I want. Now, the idea that I'm kind of going for here is to mish and mash the Spider-Man mask on top of this, basically cut up most of the mask so that there's just bits and pieces of it on this, kind of reminiscent of Tobey Maguire's battle damage mask. But as it tears off, you see these zombified textures. You see this mouthpiece. This is going to be the main piece that the mask is ripped off of. I'm going to try to embed one of the lenses in this actual thing. It's going to be great. It's going to be fun. Now, my main concern with this was the fact that these are both latex, and nothing sticks to latex ever, but sometimes it does. So I have a variety of adhesives to try. We have our gel super glue. We have our Bob Smith 2-part epoxy that we use on all of our face shows. We have our JB Weld 2-part epoxy. We have our good old-fashioned Loctite. And if all else fails, there's something I absolutely know will work. We have classic Weldwood contact cement. I looked it up. I was told that this works on latex, especially latex to fabric, which is what we need it for. So hopefully this will work. There is also this extra piece I have, these zombie sleeves. But Amazon kind of dicked me. This is what they sent me. I'm not even joking. They sent me this. I looked through all of the packaging and I do not have the zombie sleeves anywhere, so I had to order another pair. So unfortunately, this is not going to be a one-day build like I wanted it to be. Also in the material pile, I went to Spirit Halloween to get a little bit of blood to put on this. We have spray blood to stain the suit and blood gel to kind of give more of a texture to it. I'm also going to be mixing this with a ton of paint, airbrush, weathering, all of that. The basic plan that we have again, like I said, I'm gonna try this on, kind of see how it fits. For the actual suit, what we're gonna do is we're basically just gonna dirty it. We're gonna make it look like it was dragged through a mud pit. We're gonna airbrush everything. We're gonna put scratch marks on it. We're gonna put blood on it. Gonna do all that fun stuff. For the actual mask itself, what we have is the first step is I'm gonna rip these lenses off, so I just have a fabric mask. I'm gonna lay the mask over this zombie face to kind of see what I'm working with and kind of cut out the mask how I want it to be on the face. In a perfect world, what's going to happen is I'm going to cut up the mask and I'm going to be able to just lay it on top of the face, but we all know that that never happens. So in an imperfect world, which is more realistic, I'm going to have to do this in different patches and different sections. The good news about this build, the one good part about this is I can be as messy as I want and I don't really have to be refined or super nice because it's a zombie. That is the one thing kind of giving me a little bit of clarity in all of this. I think I'm going to cut the hair off of this. I'm not super into, can I just rip that off? Yeah. I'm not super into the hair. Anyway, for the gloves, I don't really know if I'm going to use them. I hope that I can. I'm just going to slide them under the suit and do that. And then I also had another thing. I wanted to utilize more of this because obviously for the face, I'm only really using this section. I think once I get the mask on there, I try it on, I see where it cuts off. I can use some of this stuff that I can then glue underneath different rips and patches that we've ripped off of the suit. So I might have to hold off on ripping the suit until I can kind of see which patches I have available, just to look like, you know, different gore and body parts that are mangled underneath the suit. It all makes sense in my head. As we've learned from experience on my channel, that doesn't necessarily mean it'll work in practice. So, like I said in the intro, this video is either going to be an instant flop or really, really cool, and you guys are going to see the whole thing. First step before we get into any building is to try this on and see what we're dealing with. The good news is it's not giant. So when I ordered this, it was a 3XL. I haven't zipped it up because I literally can't get back to the zipper. That's going to be a problem later. I kind of have a bit of a frog arm, but it's not the worst thing in the world, especially if we're going to be ripping a bunch of this suit up. The forearms fit pretty well. The actual suit fits decently. On the low, if you get a suit off of Amazon, it's a good starting point. Like maybe one day I'll actually review an Amazon suit, but for this little 30-second try and review, not bad. That being said, this is dog shit, and I'm gonna make sure y'all know that. Never get your lenses attached to the mask. But that's not the point. I think my biggest struggle is going to be getting the mask, the Spider-Man mask and the zombie mask to kind of be their own thing. Actually, let me try the zombie mask on too with this. These always smell really bad. Okay, I understand it now. I see the vision. I'm gonna make it work. Well, that's how he's looking with the mask on the zombie. So it does work. This would be the part where it moves into a montage. So good luck. Okay, so a lot has happened and I'm very happy with how we're looking so far. It looks really weird now, but I'm seeing the vision and it worked. It's all one piece now. That took me like an hour of kind of fumming around with it, using a variety of different glues. Ironically enough, I didn't have to use the contact cement like I thought I would. Just normal super glue and 2-part epoxy did the trick for most of it, which blew my mind because nothing ever sticks to latex. I feel like maybe it was just the fabric that absorbed the glue a little bit that stuck stuck it on, but regardless of that, it stuck it on. So here's how we're kind of looking now. It looks funky because it's not on any form. Here, let me throw it on the mannequin head. I just tried it on, which I should have waited because the super glue started burning my eye. But once you put it on a form, it starts to come together a little bit. You can kind of see. Look, oh dude, look at that. And I'm loving this, man. This is so fun. I was trying for so long to get the lenses like lined up, and then I realized, I'm like, dude, I don't have to. Like, this literally can be the ugliest thing ever. As long as the lenses are somewhat close. I can see out of this one, I totally mangled that one because this is the one that was a little out of place, and I'm fine with it. This is gonna be my favorite step. We're gonna use a variety of weathering techniques. We're gonna use airbrush paint, kind of get our nice contour shading down. That'll be a little bit more precise. We're then gonna use watered down acrylic with a brush to really just slather it up and make it dirty. And then we are gonna come around with the blood gel and the blood spray. The reason I'm only doing the mask first, because it's the most important piece, right? I needed to get this done. The reason I'm doing the paint job all together is so that I have a reference point for the suit, so that the suit can follow. I also needed to wait until I had all of the excess of the mask cut off, which is awesome because now I have all of these like large pieces of zombie flesh to use under the suit. This one makes me think I want like a big one like on my side, like right under the symbol. I think that'd be really sick. We're gonna start the painting process now. This is gonna be probably the make or break moment of like if it's gonna work, if it's gonna not, but I'm really gonna push the envelope on this. I'm really gonna push it to be as dirty as possible. Barely even resemble Spider-Man anymore. Like right now it looks funky because the contrast of the fabric is so high. Hopefully when I paint it and I weather it, it's gonna look a little different. But I'm really liking where we're at now, especially for a cheap weekend DIY build. This is going to be a really cool thing if someone decides to do it. So let's get into the painting. Alright, so I'm not going to show you guys the mask quite yet. I have it drying, but I will say I'm very satisfied with how it's looking. It looks absolutely disgusting, but it was so much fun to work on. The main thing I was worried about was not overdoing it because I got caught up in the mix. It's very easy to overdo these things when you're weathering, but I think I found a good happy medium of it. I just pray that when I put it on, it actually like lines up and looks decent. But even if it doesn't work when I put it on, I'll still be able to show you the mask. And I think it's pretty cool. Now we have the suit, and the suit is going to be substantially easier than the mask, I believe. We kind of have our templates. So as I said before, we're going to use the offcuts of this mask to kind of gauge where I want this stuff placed. Now, for example, this piece is rather large. I can cut it up if I want, but I know that I want to have a gash like right here in the abdomen section. Go like that, cut it to be a little bit, you know, thinner, then slice the suit, wrap it around, and then glue it to the inside, so on and so forth around different points of the suit. I'm just going to use the excess zombie material that I have, and I'm not going to go too crazy in terms of the arms, because like I said, I still have the zombie sleeves on their way because Amazon dicked me. They only sent me this little piece of cardboard, so that's not great. It kind of shows me what they are. I don't exactly know how they're going to fit me, so I don't know how far up to cut, but when the zombie sleeves get here, those will simply, I'll wear those underneath, and then based on wherever they are, I'll slice the the arms as fit. That's gonna unfortunately turn this 1-day build into a 2-day build, which sucks because I'm absolutely confident I could have finished this in a day. We could have absolutely done this in 1 day had the sleeves actually been in the packaging, but unfortunately they weren't. So we can focus on everything else today. When the sleeves get here tomorrow, put those on, slice it up, we'll be good to go. But for this, like I said, we're gonna place the latex over wherever we want it, make some slices. Once I have all that glued in, then we'll do the same process of airbrush painting, blood painting, weathering painting, all of that fun stuff. That's where we're at now. I'm very excited to finish this project. I won't lie, I was very hesitant going into this project, not knowing how it was gonna work. But after seeing the mask and kind of how that's looking, I'm very excited to get this going and eventually make a real zombie Spider-Man one day. But let's do it. Alright, I got some beef with Amazon. I don't know what last video I made where this was still an issue, but every time I order off of Amazon, hoping that they're gonna save me, they don't. I ordered these zombies. First of all, the first zombie sleeves I ordered didn't even come in the package, right? So I couldn't even deal with that. I ordered the replacement zombie sleeves before I even started filming yesterday. And I got overnight shipping to make sure they were here. And on the order delivery page, guess what it told me? It said it will be here between 4 and 8 a.m. That was gonna be awesome, bro. That means they were gonna show up at 8 a.m. by 8 a.m. and I could actually have this thing done, built, and showcased and move on with my day. It is 3:30 p.m. and they just arrived. I was sitting out there watching the tracking on my phone, waiting for the bro to show up with my zombie sleeves. It is 3:30. That overnight delivery thing, just not true. Simply false. Anyway, we are 99% there with the suit. I'm going to throw on these zombie sleeves, see how they fit, see where I can even make the cut marks, if I even want to use the sleeves, by the way. And the next time you see me, we'll be in the finished zombie Spider-Man suit. Let's do it. So, if you were looking for a face reveal, about as close as we're gonna get. This is not super comfortable, by the way. Okay, sorry, I had to change masks. I will say by far, this is the hardest mask to both see out of and speak out of because it's latex, so it all like echoes. It also smells really bad because it's a combination of the latex and every material and chemical I dumped down here to look as nasty as it does. However, with all that being said, I am absolutely over the moon with how this looks. This might be my favorite DIY project we've done, like ever. It might be my favorite top spot for DIY builds on this channel. Making a zombie Spider-Man is something I never thought of as an idea, but I randomly just had the idea a few days ago, and I'd like to think we succeeded, especially with how limited supplies we had. You know, I ordered a cheap Spider-Man suit off Amazon, cheap mask, cheap everything. Didn't really spend too much on the entirety of the build, and I'm pretty happy with the result of it. Now, if you do want to make your own zombie Spider-Man suit, I'm gonna leave a list of materials down below for you guys to check out. Basically, everything I ordered for this suit, I'm gonna throw in one list for you guys to check out so that you can get everything at the same time I did, and you can choose whether or not you want to, you know, mix and match and do stuff, and basically build it however you want to build it. I didn't end up using the gloves because I figured that it would look a little off. I tried them on with the suit, but it didn't seem very Spider-Man-y to me, so I kind of dished the idea of using the gloves, and I instead went for, you know, a blood-painted, blood-soaked hands of the suit, and I think that fits the vibe a little bit more, because in all honesty, we gotta shout out to the mask. That is, you know, the showpiece. That is the piece that is resistance. That is the zombie Spider-Man. Everything else is just kind of show work on top of it. The flesh wounds here, the airbrushing there, the weathering, it all comes second to the actual mask, which is why I did the mask first. And my god, I do love this mask. It's so cool, dude. I'm not trying to hype myself up at all, but I really did enjoy this project a lot, and I surprised myself. I didn't think that we would get a result like this, one that I'm super hyped about, that I enjoy this much. And again, the coolest thing about this is it's DIY. Anyone can do this with the material list I'm going to leave down below. And if you guys do build your own zombie Spider-Man, please feel free to send the DM to me on Instagram or send it in our Discord tab. Join the Discord, first link down in the description. Show me what you guys can do with your own zombie Spider-Man. That would be a really cool thing, kind of get going for this Halloween season. If we can get a whole army of zombie Spider-Man, that'd be sick. Anyway, again, the one drawback is the mask is very difficult to wear, but I didn't expect it to be very easy to wear. This was just a fun weekend DIY project that I would have gotten done in a single day if Amazon didn't screw me. Because look, I'm gonna be honest, the zombie sleeves aren't it. Like, they're fine, sure, but waiting a whole day for them just to barely be seen, not really it. It looked okay. I'm not gonna be too mad. Anyway, I had a ton of fun doing this build, and if you guys do this build on your own, make sure to tag me in wherever you post it. I would love to see it and reshare it. And I think this was the perfect video to start off the Halloween season, because as everybody knows, summer is my favorite season, but Halloween is my favorite holiday. So it always comes through, and I gotta make some cool stuff for Halloween, and this was a pretty good start. Anyway, thank you again so much for watching. Feel free to join the Discord, first link down in the description. We are giving away Spider-Man suits, 75K and 100K here on YouTube, 30K on Instagram. We are giving away Spider-Man suits to a bunch of y'all when we hit those goals, so make sure to like, subscribe, follow, do all that fun stuff. Anyway, I had a total blast doing this. Happy Halloween season. Peace and love, do good things, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace!
Yeah, Spider-Man!